Welcome to PPR Podcast number 125. My name is Paul. To my right is the undisputed star of the podcast, Mr. Bert Grossmont, who, when he's not working with us, is working for the San Diego Strike Force as their team president, and they gladly sponsor this podcast. Well, Bert, would you like to introduce the man sitting in the hot seat?
I would, but I think everybody knows him. Kevin Allen from Helix. How are you today, sir?
Great. How are y'all doing?
We're doing great. Tell me about the nickname, Tank. Where'd that come from? Who first coined that phrase?
That came from my granddad in North Carolina. He was at this Cathedral game 2 weeks ago, but so how it came to life is I used to, like when I was a baby, I used to run around the church and just run into things head first, so they started calling me Tank.
Tank, you're the first person to ever do this podcast with beats on.
Yeah, it's just because I'm around people, so I got it.
Are you in the class? You're in the classroom right now?
No, I'm in the locker room.
Oh, okay. Hey, you talked about Cathedral. I mean, you guys had off this week. That's what I went. Did you go to any games? Did you go visit any colleges during your bye week?
I went to Utah State. It was me, Ryland, Jackson. Yeah, that was nice.
You liked it there?
Cool. That was, yeah, it was unofficial. It was a change of pace from California. Unofficial, I mean. It was a change of pace from California, but I liked it. It's colorful, and it's very calm.
Is Ryland putting the squeeze on now to have a friend in the backfield?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But we'll see how that plays out.
Hey, so, I mean, you guys set off like we talked about. We talked to you a little bit after the Cathedral game with the 200. What'd you have? 215 yards rushing, I believe.
Yeah,
and
big
then
game.
both ways. I mean, we talked about it a little then. I think my biggest thought going into that game was you guys have so many guys playing both ways and Cathedral doesn't, and they would wear you down in the fourth quarter. And it was, I mean, it was tied or they're up by one going into the fourth quarter, but then you guys didn't wear down. Like how much, like go through your conditioning. Like how often do you guys do that in practice and what's it consist of? Is that Eric Parker that does it?
Yeah, so Coach Parker is our conditioning coach. And like anybody who talks or knows Coach Parker knows he's very like science-based, like he does all that research. So we've been practicing since January, and from January we've been working up our conditioning and ramping up our conditioning so that when these moments come, we wouldn't wear it down, because we knew we were going to have a lot of people playing both ways. So we knew we had to be more conditioned and we had to get better as the game went on. So we normally stay like true to like a very strict routine. It's not strict, but we do basically the same thing every week, but we might do less rest time or we might do higher like frequency, if that makes sense.
Sure, of course it does. So is that a combination then of cardio and weights and all round of practice?
Oh yeah. So one thing that we have here is we have like a fourth period class is football. So we might weight train sometimes. And, you know, I feel like our guys just take it upon themselves to get better off the field when we're not at practice. Like, I know that a lot of my teammates lift weights when we're not at practice. They'll do their own things. You know, bye week is not really a rest week. You know, you're getting healthier, but you're still working out.
Look at that, Paul. You walk a lot.
Yeah, I walk a lot, Kevin. I do a lot of walking.
Yeah, he does.
So how would that factor into? Do you guys do a lot of walking?
Power walking.
Yeah, it's a very brisk walk.
It's a power walk.
It's like a good 13-minute mile walk.
Hey, so I was thinking, because you know obviously everyone knows you play both ways, and you're like probably the top candidate for two-way player of the year, but you also have like Jackson Daniels on your team. Like who? I mean, we usually, you know, I mean, if I'm looking at two people, it's never on the same team kind of that are two favorites. Do you guys compete with that a little bit, or how's that work?
No, we don't really think about it like that, because I just feel like if we're both candidates for two-way player of the year, that means we're helping our team out tremendously. Like if they have two top two-way players of the year, then I just think that that's only benefits our team. And we don't really talk about that. Like, you know, if it come down to whoever wins, if he wins, I'll be happy for him. Because I just know that means that we put our team in the best position every week.
Who's the best player on Helix?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to.
Who would get drafted first?
I don't know. I don't like to toot my own horn, so I'll have to say, if I'm being honest, our linemen are nasty. Like Anthony Gash, crazy lineman. Man, Ryan Mason, he holds it down every week. Like, we're not the same Helix team without our linemen. So I have to say our linemen, to be honest. Because they open up everything. They give Ryland time. They give me holes. They give Jackson the ability to catch the ball. And, you know, like, honestly, a lot of times when interception happens is because the D-line is in that quarterback's face. So I have to say our linemen, to be honest.
Yeah, and they're all. I remember, God, I think they've been together forever. It seems like that Lincoln game at Modern Day in the playoffs. I think it was like the same O-line, but they're all like sophomores, and they're all starting. And then last year we wanted to do them on the pig pen, but we like to do seniors, but they had no seniors. They had all underclassmen.
So now you got to do it.
I got to do them all, yeah.
So when is the Granite Hills game? How far out is that?
The 20th of October.
So we know what that game.
I mean, I guess y'all just sold me because, like I said in last week, I really just go one game at a time. I don't plan for teams ahead. I try to keep my foot on the gas with the team we're playing. So October 20th, I guess that's when the Granite game is. And we're excited for that, but you know that time's gonna come.
So who's this week?
West Hills. We're into our league play now.
Oh, I thought you had Grossmont this week. Is it West Hills?
So, all right, listen, I don't want to disparage anyone because you guys play a tough non-conference schedule, but when you get into your conference schedule, that's where you lose your strength of schedule points. And there's really very little you can do about that other than, I mean, I don't. Do you feel comfortable running up like an Oregon score against Colorado? And does that even count for?
No, I think you get less points for beating a lower team than you do for losing to a good team.
So is that always the kind of the until other programs can get up to the Helix level in your league and leagues? Is that just something Helix has to deal with? That there's nothing you can do about it, right? Other than play the game and play as best you can.
I mean, yeah, it's nothing we can do about it. That's why we try to put ourselves in the best position. You know, we play hard competition. You know, we ran the table 5-0. That's what we plan to do in league. You know, obviously Granite being good is going to help us a little bit, and we're going to help them. But we can only see how it plays out. So, I mean, we're just going to try to keep our foot on the pedal. We're going to try to dominate, and we're just going to see how it plays out. We can't control that, and we know we can't control that. So we're just going week by week.
That's at Granite, too. Is that going to be a game of the week?
I have to think we're headed back to Granite Hills for that ball game. How do you guys met? All right, are we allowed to talk about Granite Hills, or do you prefer to stay focused and not work that far ahead?
I mean, you can talk about them if you want to.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Of those, right now, it looks like we know the open division, barring some sort of unexpected outcome, and I mean, it would be unexpected for either Lincoln, Carl. Is it fair to say that?
Yeah, I think those four.
I mean, do you think anyone who's going to beat Carlsbad? Who's going to beat Lincoln? Who's going to beat? I mean, that game is the most evenly matched game still going forward, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Or is
I mean, because this is what I was going to ask you, Kevin. Like, you get guys like Paul, you got a bye week, and then all of a sudden he knocks you down and puts Granite ahead of you at number 3. And you guys didn't even play, man. How do you guys take that?
I didn't do that. You did that.
Oh, I did this.
Yeah, you did.
Why you don't even look amused.
Kevin, you're starting to scare us, Kevin.
Yeah, why are you getting all mad over there?
Smile a little bit.
I mean, it's fine, honestly. Like, we don't really pay attention to the rankings because I think we know what we have in the building. You know, obviously they beat us last year in 4 overtimes. We didn't take that very well, but that's been a motivating factor this year, along with El Camino beating us in the first round of the playoffs, and that hasn't happened to Helix in I don't know how long. So we're really just on our tour of vengeance, but yeah, we just gonna keep going. I mean, they, you know, obviously very well coached. I have a lot of friends on that team. They're very good. Their defense is very stout. You know, Pablo and I forget the other running back's name, but they're really good. So they'll definitely be a point of emphasis. But I think overall they're very good. So I think that'll be a good game.
What side of the ball do you like playing better on?
To be honest, I like scoring touchdowns, but I also like hitting people. So I don't know, but I think if I had to give a nod, I'd probably say offense.
And what about college? What do they kind of talk to you about? Do they pick one, or they just leave it like it is right now?
Well, I'm getting recruited mostly at running back, but there's some schools that are recruiting me at DB that haven't pulled like the trigger yet, but we'll see what happens with those too.
How does the recruiting thing work now? Do you get texts? Are you text? Do you still get phone calls? Do you get letters? How do people recruit Kevin Allen III?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, like normally it starts out with them reaching out to me on Twitter, and then we might text for a little bit in Twitter, and then they get my phone number, and then we'll text in the phone number, and then we probably call, FaceTime, and then it becomes like a 3 times a week thing, and then I get letters and stuff like that. So it's really like a progression.
Is it?
It's the same as with you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I used to get a lot of phone calls.
Recruited.
Is it? It would make me feel good that people were interested in my athletic ability. Does it become a pain in the rear?
No, because you got to think about it. Like the way I think about somebody recruiting me is that they put in their like family's money on the line to recruit me. So I take it as an honor. You know, I always prayed to be in this position. I always prayed to God. And honestly, as a Helix freshman, I never thought I would be in this position. So I would just take it all as a blessing, and I take it all in. And I'm grateful every time a coach reaches out to me, no matter what level he is.
All right, I'm going to ask this again because I'm fascinated by the conditioning thing, and I know Van runs you in individual probably as much as Parker does in conditioning. But I mean, I watched the Cathedral game. How many plays do you think you played total in that game?
Oh no, I'd probably say about like 80 or something like that.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah, and special teams there. I mean, and you're averaging like 150 yards a carry against a pretty rough schedule so far.
A game.
A game against pretty rough schedule. I mean, if you just played running back, you think that would make a difference? You think that would be a lot more, or do you think that doesn't even matter?
I definitely do think it would be a lot more because I feel like I would do. Like, I feel like, honestly, the way I feel is that when I touch the ball, I can score. That's what I think about every time. And that's how Coach Van has, like, instilled in me. So, you know, honestly, fatigue is sometimes a factor. But I think when I really start to get into the swing of it, because I feel like I'm a second-half player. I feel like our team's second half. So I feel like when the pressure ramps up, that's when I ramp up. And I think that I play better under pressure. And honestly, like when I'm tired, I practice going maybe even faster than when I'm just fully like breathing and stuff like that.
So I mean, the one thing I think I talked to you after the interview. The funniest part is your sideline because you got like Van and Jimmy Cook, and they all want to run the ball, and Taylor would rather jump off the Coronado Bridge than run the ball. He wants to throw it every single play. Is it like that in practice, or they argue in practice like Taylor run maybe once or twice?
No, I think our offensive coaching staff is in unison because they know our strengths. So, like, one thing that Coach Taylor is really good at is when, like, he can analyze the defense and he knows what's working. So he has no problem calling what's working. You know, obviously he's a pass-first guy. You know, the spread, he'd rather pass the ball. But he knows when the run is working that we need to run the ball. And even our old linemen will be in there, let's run the ball, we're pounding them. So, yeah, I think Coach Taylor is good at knowing his personnel and what we can do.
Now, was Kevin on the field when we were at Mater Dei for that playoff game? Were you playing in that game, the loss to Mater Dei in the playoffs?
Yeah.
I was on special teams. I didn't really play because, you know, we had Chris. You know,
Right.
Chris was that guy.
But you were there.
But I was on special teams, and I played a little bit of defense.
And having those, because you know that was a big game. That was one of the biggest games because Mater Dei was having their story, and it was just, you know, they were trying to prove that they were Section 1 champs. I was just curious. Do defeats like that help shape success later on? Something like that, you know, you remember that ugly feeling of losing to Mater Dei and all the accolades that went their way. Does that make getting up early to lift and other things easier?
Oh, yeah, definitely, because I think when you just have those in the back of your mind, you're always driven, and you know that, like, some days are not going to be, like, easy, but those are the type of things that push you because, you never like to lose, especially when you get that far. So I think that, yeah, those are always definitely in the back of my mind, pushing me and things like that.
And it was up to you. Say it ended today, and it was Granite, Helix, Carlsbad, and Lincoln in the Open. Who would you want to play first?
All of them. I want to play all of those teams, and I feel like at some point I will. I'll play Granite, and then Carlsbad and Lincoln are really good teams. I got a lot of friends on Lincoln, and I know that they're very well coached and they're very athletic. And then Carlsbad, I know they're really good too. So I want to play all of them, to be honest. I think they're all amazing teams, and I think we match up well with all of them.
Odds are you only get to play.
He's a straight politician.
I know. Yeah.
Senator.
I got
some more questions,
please.
Senator.
Hey, tell us about Kevin Allen the first and Kevin Allen the second.
Well, Kevin Allen Sr., he's a pastor in North Carolina. A lot of what I am today, he's helped shape me because, anytime I need advice, I go to my granddad. There's somebody who I trust a lot. He's a man of intelligence, a man of his word. And Kevin Allen II, my dad, is the same. He's one and the same. He gives me real advice. He's in Florida. He's in the Navy. He just retired from the Navy, actually. He did 20 years. And, yeah, I love those guys. They help me. And I think that the fact that I carry their name is a blessing, and it's an honor, to be honest, because I feel like it's very fitting.
Hey, can you send me pictures of them both? I want to use that clip for some of our social media posts, and I would really love it if you could send me pictures. Do you have any, do you think, on your phone or anything?
Oh, yeah, I have some. Do you want me to send it to you after this on Twitter?
Yeah, I'll text you my email address, okay?
Okay, all right.
And I sure would appreciate it because I love that comment and I want to use that. So
wait, so I got it. So are you born and raised San Diego, or were you born back east?
So I'm a military baby. So I was born in Virginia, and then at 4 years old I moved to Illinois, and then at 8 I moved to San Diego, and I've been in San Diego since I was 8, basically.
That sounds like a Navy boy, baby.
Yeah.
Great Lakes, Illinois.
Yeah.
You're not going to believe it. I was born there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, my dad was
a military kid too.
Yeah, my dad was Navy. So I was born in Great Lakes, Illinois. How weird is that? So you lived there for a while?
Yeah, I lived there for 4 years, from 4 to 8.
Oh, what a hoot that is.
Great Lakes, Illinois.
Great Lakes, Illinois, yeah.
And what youth team did you play for here in San Diego?
I played for the Cougars. Santa.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna throw Eastlake out or Bonita like everybody else does.
Oh, nah. I didn't like playing against them when I was in youth because they were a super team.
Yeah, they're still super
James,
team.
Martell, Kai.
Yeah.
That was a crazy team.
Do you know we've done 125 of these podcasts? That youth team comes up in about 119 of them.
Yeah, they all played through their super team.
Jeez, that's amazing. Young man, as you obviously if you can't tell by now by the attention we're giving you now, you're obviously very much on our radar as we now, this second half of the season is when we start focusing on what kids are going to be up for what awards and who's going to be on the podium. Are you familiar with the Prep Picks report? I mean, do you watch it? You've been on it enough, but is it on your radar? Do you understand at the end of the year we have this big thing at Rock Church and?
Oh yeah, I definitely see it, and I was there last year actually because I was a nominee, so I was there, and I think it's really cool what y'all do. I've never seen it in other regions. I look at other regions like to see the coverage, and they don't really have something like this. So I think it's amazing what y'all do, and I think it's amazing.
I appreciate that. How amazing would it be if 65 days from now you're one of the 5 finalists on the podium, trying to become, I believe, would be the 3rd Helix Scottie. You would be in the company of a guy by the name of Reggie Bush if your name were to be called. What would that mean to you?
Oh no, that would be an honor because that's what I always dreamed of, coming to running back university, Helix. And so, I had a plan in my head when I first came and when I first enrolled at Helix, and I think that it's coming to fruition now all through the graces of God. So I'm just I'm blessed and I'm amazed and I'm taking it all in, like I said, and that would be amazing to be on that podium at the end of the year.
All right, so I just figured I gotta let my thing go with Helix. I'm always questioning them about because they have so many both-way players that they're gonna run out of gas. I think I should let that go. Huh?
Yeah.
And take that off my pick
Does
list.
that kid look like does that kid look like somebody who's going to run out of gas?
No,
He
none of them
doesn't
do.
look like
so
it to me.
I should probably quit that then.
Yeah,
just take that
now,
off.
Don't be bringing your failings as an athlete and then transferring it to.
It's because
you ran out of gas.
Because I couldn't do it. I
Yeah.
ran out of gas one way. I can't even imagine that. I wouldn't. Man.
Kevin, you're talking to a guy that had over 100 D1 scholarship offers.
I only had to play one way though.
Wow.
Yeah.
100?
No, dude, he was the most recruited athlete in the country.
That was back
What
in.
position were you?
What, do I look like a punter?
He was
I'm just
defensive end, 46 NFL sacks before a neck injury ended his career.
No, I was a defensive lineman, believe it or not.
Kevin, he was the 8th pick in the 89 draft?
Yeah, 89.
8th pick overall.
Yeah, you were the guy for sure.
Yeah.
We didn't
That's
have internet
crazy.
or anything, so we didn't even have cell phones. So if people were calling, you could just take the phone off the hook and then hang it on top of the phone. Different times, Kevin. Different times. We didn't have to worry about any of that. You got any other?
But what I was going to say, Kevin, is that this guy, he probably would have been in the NFL Hall of Fame had he had your will to work out and your will.
Anybody on a team's will to work out, man. Those guys work hard.
He got by on athletic prowess alone and invested nothing in the way of.
I basically look like Coach Taylor at DN. Imagine that? That's what I look like. Same belly, same everything.
Wow.
I didn't have a beard. But.
So it brings me to this question. You don't realize it, but I'm here to tell you that there are young athletes in your orbit that you are Reggie Bush, that they want to be the next Kevin Allen III, and speak to those youngsters. I'd be very interested. What have you learned that you would impart on the next generation of running backs?
Well, I would tell them just like how I would tell my little brothers that nothing is easy, and if you want it, you got to go take it. And anything I would say, like, if they want to do anything, then they should chase it, because you really, like, your purpose in life is really just to chase your goals. Without that, you have nothing to look forward to. And I would just say to stay dedicated and stay, like, disciplined, because dedication is going to wear off sometimes. But if you're disciplined, then your body will just follow through with it, even when you don't feel like doing it. And then that'll only be better when, like, the darkness comes to light and it's time to perform. And so I feel like that's a good motto for life, because there's going to be days you don't feel like doing something. And if your discipline takes over, then you'll be good.
Wait till it gets our age. That's every day.
Yeah, that's every day. Hey, before I let you go, because we're going to wrap this up at 25 minutes, the ghost of Reggie Bush, does it, as a running back, I mean, does that live in your world? I mean, are there images when you walk into the locker room? Is Reggie's memory alive and well at Helix High School?
Oh yeah, we got a poster of him right when we walk in the locker room, so I see him every day. And then the people that used to go to Helix or have been following Helix for a while, they always talk about Reggie Bush, and I think it's honestly just a blessing, because he was amazing. Like, y'all know what he did. And he was really good, and I would hope to see him at one of our games this year. That would be nice.
Trust me, we're really aware of what he did. He put our show on the map, young man. I mean, we were just a struggling football show some 25 years ago, and then the name Reggie Bush started popping up, and suddenly people started taking notice of the Prep Picks report. My debt to Reggie Bush is immeasurable, and everybody who likes the PPR's debt to Reggie Bush is immeasurable, because not only was he a great athlete, but he was pretty cool with his time, and he, I think we drove him nuts towards the end of his senior year, but I certainly drove him nuts after his senior year.
Yeah, he was your meal ticket.
Yeah, but so we're very aware of what a good football player he is.
You're 25 minutes. You're way over.
All
you
right.
always say 15 minutes to these kids. They got class, they got school.
Well,
and then
what class do you have next? Did we get you out of class?
Oh yeah, I had English right now, but next period I don't have a class. So.
All right. Well, if we got you out of class, you can be grateful for that. I'm going to text you my email address. Could you send me pictures of Kevin Allen 1 and 2? And
you can just send it to me through Twitter. I'll just forward it to him.
Okay.
All right.
Either
But
one. Which one would y'all prefer?
Say again?
Which one would y'all prefer? Like, I send it to Mr. Burt, or
You want
or
you want to
email?
get it from him?
Yeah, I'll get it from him.
All right, but Kevin, do it right away, so because I'm going to start working on this and I want to get it done. And the way it works is we'll put this up on YouTube in about an hour or so, and then I'll start putting stuff up on social media as the next 2 days go through, and there'll be clips everywhere from Instagram to you're on Instagram and Twitter, right?
Yes, sir.
You're not on Facebook though, right?
No.
Why you laughing?
What's Facebook?
That's our main thing. Come on.
That's amazing. Facebook was the thing, and now.
No.
All right, PPR
laughed at
Podcast. Kevin, stay healthy. Young man, you're very much in our orbit, so we'll be driving you nuts in the next few weeks. And stay healthy so that we can continue the relationship as we get closer to the Silver Pigskin Gala. PPR Podcast is 125 is now concluded. Everybody, turn off your machines.